Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Big G Video Podcast. This is an opportunity for me to really talk about something in much more depth than I could go into if I was just doing a video. Today I want to talk about the fact that I was contacted by a YouTube consultant. I wasn't contacted that recently, it was maybe about 6 months ago, but for some reason I just thought of it the other day and I thought I should probably share my experiences with them. It might be that I came to an end with TubeBuddy, unfortunately, and I didn't renew my TubeBuddy account, and there's a couple of things to talk about in terms of help on YouTube, and then I'll get into the story of the YouTube consultant. But I was just emailed out of the blue with a promise of some free help, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I did very soon, because first of all, let's talk about YouTube help. Now, YouTube offers some help, and YouTube's help has got better and better, and recently it's got a lot better with the introduction of AI, or more prominent use of AI. Now, you really need help sometimes with YouTube, particularly if you're new, because you've got an idea for a video. There's no point doing that video if no one's interested. So something you can do is you can use a tool like TubeBuddy or vidIQ to work out, is this going to get a good score as a percentage? Is there a lot of interest in this video that I want to do? And is there a lot of competition? So I've been using TubeBuddy for a couple of years. There's a free version, of course. It works via a Chrome plugin, and there's a paid version, and there's several tiers of paid versions. With something like vidIQ, there's also paid versions. And with vidIQ, it works the same, but vidIQ has a few tweaks. With vidIQ, you can have a YouTube coach, which is an actual person, not an AI, telling you what to do. Now, I've never used that myself. I know what works for my YouTube. I know what I do wrong, and there's a reason I do things the wrong way, which one day I might well talk about. So with these third-party plugins, you can do a couple of things. One, the most useful is research if you should even start the video. The second thing is they give you performance stats about your channel. The third thing they used to do, and they still do it, but there's not a need to do it anymore really, because YouTube does it, is they allowed A/B testing. You could test your thumbnails, so you could put two thumbnails on a video, and it would tell you which was the better thumbnail, and then you would keep that one going. And you could do titles. I think you might have even been able to do description A/B testing. But now YouTube does an automatic thumbnail testing, and you can do up to 3 thumbnails, so you don't need to buy TubeBuddy to do that. It's already inherent in YouTube, and YouTube is only going to get better and better at doing things like this. So YouTube now has, I think it's trends or insights tab within your analytics that does some suggesting. I still find TubeBuddy's score of when you do a search for a topic particularly useful, and I also quite like looking at other channels and being able to look at their views and their views over the last month, because I can compare myself to other channels. Sometimes that's a bit depressing and sometimes it's not, but it's quite interesting to compare yourself to other channels, see what they're doing, or how well their videos are landing and things. That's quite useful. So having TubeBuddy, I immediately recognised something when I was contacted. Now, as a YouTube channel, I've put a YouTube email on my channel so that people can contact me if they want to. So I was contacted out of the blue by this person, and they offered to do a free audit of my channel. So I said, okay, yeah, do a free audit of my channel, that's fine. And they sent me a screenshot of basically what they'd gathered from using TubeBuddy. And this was all stuff I knew. And there are certain things that TubeBuddy suggests, and those are things like put your video on Facebook. Now, I have experimented with that, and I've experimented with lots and lots of ways to grow my channel. And effectively, you have a finite amount of effort that you can put in, a finite number of things you can do, because you've only got so much time. I'm not a full-time content creator. I have a job. I do this more as a hobby. But even if I was a full-time content creator, there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so much time I can spend on something. I've learned to really maximize my activities for my YouTube videos. So do I share things to Facebook? No, I don't. I don't think that will have any impact, so I don't do it. And maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't do it. So automatically I always get a cross on that. You haven't shared it to Facebook, but you could. There's a sweet spot of writing the thumbnail, not thumbnail. There's a sweet spot for the number of characters in your title. Now I put a lot of characters in my title because I know that that's searched on. But there's, you can have too many, you can have too little. I just write it, I add to it. I know that it gets truncated, but so what? It's still used for search, even if it gets truncated. And I think I'm quite good at thumbnails, so I know what to do. And I put my time into writing good descriptions, planning the videos out, and even then, I don't always get a great deal of views, but that's what I do. That's where I put my time. I put time into captioning as well. And one of TubeBuddy's rules is you can have your video description translate easily into different languages. So if I add captions for Indonesian, I can very easily have my video description translated to Indonesian because I get quite a lot of views from Indonesia. So let's put it in their language. I have no way to validate whether that has any impact, whether the translation's correct or not. I don't know. But I do it anyway. And without TubeBuddy, it would be tedious to do. Now, interestingly, I think YouTube is going to do automatic translations at some point because the translations for captions is already AI generated anyway. So you can auto-generate, captions are auto-generated in your language anyway. So I'm an English speaker. On YouTube, my language is down as English United Kingdom. So those get generated anyway. So captions automatically get generated based on my video anyway, and I can automatically translate those to lots and lots of different languages. So that's what happens, that's what gets done. So when out of the blue I got this email from this YouTube consultant, and I said, yeah, give me a free audit, and it was just TubeBuddy, I was a little bit disappointed because he wasn't telling me anything I didn't know, and some of the things weren't worth telling me anyway because I'd been through that exploratory phase of having a go at this, finding it didn't do anything, and not wasting my time further doing it, like sharing to Facebook. I do have websites that I share to, but in all honesty, I don't think they do a great deal in terms of pushing views or increasing viewership, so it's not an essential thing, but certainly putting on Facebook won't do anything. So I sort of declined. I didn't ask how much the services would cost, and I felt like I'd sort of been reached out to by a cold call, really, just sort of an off chance that I might bite, but I wasn't that impressed. Now, there are things that I know I could do to improve my channel, and things I could do would be not be a faceless video channel, but I actively choose to be faceless. I don't want to be a face present video channel. That's not me, that's not what I want to do. I know if I was someone who appeared on camera, it would be easier to make videos and they'd probably do better. However, I really don't want to do that. I'm very happy being a faceless YouTube channel, or having a faceless YouTube channel, I should say. So I know I'm falling down there. I don't need anyone to tell me that, although they didn't tell me that. They just showed me a stat or a screenshot with some arrows from TubeBuddy. So there are things that I know I can improve on, but I made a choice a long time ago not to do them. And I wasn't really offered anything that I thought, oh yeah, I should be doing that. Oh yeah, maybe I should do that. That's so obvious. Nothing like that was said at all. Nothing at all. So I didn't even ask about how much it would cost. I mean, maybe I should have, because it would have been good to sort of know what someone would charge, but I let that one pass me by. I don't think it was an opportunity, but it did make me think, how could I help people if they wanted it? And I get all sorts of questions about what to do, is this worth it? And there are several things that I do to streamline my workflow, and I think one of them is something you've already heard, before, because everyone says it. Plan out a script and do your thumbnail first. And I do that, not in all cases. I do that. That's one of the things I do. I put effort into captions, so I make sure that my sort of non-English speaking audience have good subtitles and accurate subtitles. And I think 40% of my videos are watched in non-English languages, so it's quite a big audience. And so I make sure that's done. And I've started trying to put in a reason to make people watch to the end of the video. Now, what's interesting is you could spend a lot of time putting these tweaks in, putting in a lot of professional polish on one video. But the question is, with that time, is it better spent making 3 videos that aren't so polished? Now, I haven't really been able to answer that. I don't know what the correct answer is. Certainly, I'm prouder of those videos where I put more time in and I make them more polished and I put in sound effects and, you know, things like that. But I'm more disappointed if they don't do well. So an interesting stat that YouTube has told me, rather than anyone or a third-party service, is that more people are watching my older videos. My older videos are doing better than my newer videos. And my older videos are the software-based videos. So they're actually doing better. Because I've done a lot of software videos and they tend to do very well. But recently I've been doing more filmmaking videos. And they haven't done so well as my software videos. Now, YouTube told me that because YouTube every week gives me a sort of stats breakdown, a sort of insights that it pushes to me through the YouTube Studio app. So every week, and I also get one on a monthly basis, I get to see what's happened this week. I get to see it summarizes how many views, asks me a question, and it gives me data insights. And this is one of the reasons why I think YouTube consultants and these third-party tools aren't going to be needed so much, because YouTube has started doing it itself. So if YouTube can start predicting or telling me what video topics are good, and it does do that now, but it's not as good as something like TubeBuddy at the moment. TubeBuddy will rank a search term, whereas YouTube gives me some search terms that it thinks I should do. It suggests them. So I think TubeBuddy might not do so well as it used to, because YouTube is starting to swallow that up. And that was one of the reasons why I didn't pay $400 to renew my TubeBuddy license for a year. I just didn't think it was worth it anymore. So it was ultimately not renewing my TubeBuddy license, because that was coming up, that made me think and remember of that YouTube consultant that I turned down. And that made me think of this podcast. Thank you. Goodbye.